Hello, we're here to start the Atomic and Molecular Spectrum Lab. We're working on Part A. Or Part B, the flame excitation of solids. Okay. What we have on the computer is Logger Pro is connected to our SpectroViz Plus, which has a, instead of cuvettes, in the cuvette slot we now have a fiber optic cable. The directions say to have the fiber optic cable at least no more than 50 but greater than 20 centimeters away from the Bunsen burner flame. So we've got the equipment set up, we've got Logger Pro ready, we have the burner, and what we're going to do first is measure the spectrum of the burner. You will see the results on the computer. And then the second part of Part B has us working with the solids. And we will be using a loop, and we will be dipping the loop into the solids, then putting them into the flame, and the fiber optic cable will sense the color and give us a readout in nanometers of that spectrum. So, goggles on, lighting our Bunsen burner. Remember, you want to have the button needle nose open, you want to have some oxygen in as we loosen up the barrel. Hear a nice stream of gas, have our flame starter. There we go. What our next direction says, we should turn this flame down a little. A little. Okay, and you adjust that with the barrel and also with the needle nose and the oxygen and the gas valve too. Okay, so what our directions say here is we're going to go to, on the computer, we go to Experiment on the top menu bar, Change Units on the spectrometer 1, and we want to change the units to intensity. Okay, so there we go with intensity. Now that I have the spectrum, which you notice has changed a bit from our original screen, then what we're going to do is tap Collect on the computer, the green arrow up on the top. Okay, we're going to press the Collect button, and in your notebook describe the flame color and comment on the spectrum. Where is it? How wide is that spectrum? Is it the entire spectrum? If you take a peek, we have an entire spectrum behind us. Is it that entire spectrum or just part? So, pushing Collect, and we have our readouts coming in. Okay. And then what we're asked to do is to use our loop. This is our nichrome loop. So what we're asked to do first is, and this would be in the blue part of the flame, is make sure there's no contaminants. So hold it in the flame until it burns. Now, mine's brand new, so I know it's clean. I'm starting first with the lithium. Okay. So, dipping the loop in, collect a good sample of the lithium chloride. And at the same time watching the computer, let's see if we see a color change in that flame. Okay. You can definitely see a color change in our sample. Just going to check that. And I hit stop on the computer, and I am rinsing my loop with distilled water. It says for at least a minute. I wouldn't want contamination between my different samples. So, just to double check, burn off the loop again. Nope, looks like I still have some leftover color on there. So, just to be safe, avoiding contamination, burn the loop. Rinse the loop. I rinse the loop with the distilled, and just like you do in biology, burn from the handle towards the loop end. And as we see, we have all our sample off. My next color, or my next salt, is going to be sodium chloride. So I have a sample of sodium chloride on the back of on the loop itself, into the flame. And I definitely get a color change. I'm going to hit collect. And we want to store the latest run when the option comes up on the computer. Store latest run. And we are definitely getting a color change with our fiber optic cable in a slightly different area of the flame. We're seeing a bumps, or peaks is what we have. So again, this is a different one. This was our sodium. Once again, rinsing our loop, at least a minute in between. Burn the loop, starting at the handle end. Looks pretty clean. We don't have that contaminating color from the loop on. That's just our color from the beginning. So we move from sodium onto potassium chloride, getting a sample of the salt and the potassium chloride into our flame. Definitely have a color change. Hit collect. Store the latest run, and our cable is sensing a different color. And we have some peaks in a slightly different region of the... Again, you should note those colors as you're doing this, and then once you have a reading, we will rinse the loop again, burn the loop, starting from the handle end, making sure all contamination is gone. Sneaking it in a little. This is magnesium. Magnesium is a bit flakier of a compound. When I put it in the flame, definitely getting a color change. Hit collect. I believe you see the pattern now. Store the latest run. as we burn our flame. We are getting readings. Just trying to see, notice that there really is no change in the intensity if I move it closer. In case we're having trouble seeing those colors, thought I'd turn the lights down a bit here. You can still see we're rinsing the loop. See, my has quite a bit on it yet, so now make sure it's completely cleaned off. Still getting some contaminating colors. Still see some solid on there. Next solid is calcium. A little harder in the dark. Get that sample. Hitting collect on the computer. Store the latest run. Stop, rinse our loop. We hopefully took note of those colors. And our last sample for data table is strontium. Collect, store latest run. We saw a very vibrant color there. Hopefully you caught that. Okay, making sure we clean our loop for the next people that have to come and use the station. Once again, I'm going to end with what we started with, which is just going to be a spectrum of what the burner flame itself would look like, sort of our background. So we could erase that out and stop collection. All right, let's go to analyzing this info.